Hello students, synchronic linguistics is very important topic. So I'm discussing synchronic linguistics. What is this? Synchronic linguistics is the study of language at one particular period, usually the present. Means it is also known as descriptive linguistics or synchronic linguistics or general linguistics. There are three names and all are one and the same thing: synchronic linguistics, descriptive linguistics, or general linguistics, right? And that is the study of language at one particular time, especially present time, right? So that's a when you study a language and for particular time, suppose modern language, this is the new time, this is the current language. What's the current language? And you don't want to indulge in history, so that is the study of a language at one particular time, study of language at one particular period, right? Okay, now what are the key takeaways of synchronistic linguistics? So like, see, first one is that's a synchronistic linguistics is the study of language at a particular time. That's very important point. Synchronic linguistics is the study of language at a particular time. In contrast, diachronic linguistics studies the development of language over time. That's a history of English language is called, that is diachronic study, right? Now, synchronistic linguistics is often descriptive, analyzing how the parts of language or grammar work together. Very important. Synchronic linguistics is often descriptive, of course, descriptive, that because it will describe, right, analyzing how parts of language or grammar work together. So how grammar work together, that is synchronistic linguistics. Okay, now example is what? A synchronic study of language is a comparison of languages or dialects, various spoken differences of the same language, right, used within some defined special region and during the same period of time, wrote Colleen Elaine. What they say that linguistics for writers, right? This is the name of the book. And what he is saying that synchronic study of language is a comparison of languages, right, or dialects, right? What dialects one community uses, what another. So that's a comparative study. Various spoken differences of the same language, that is dialect, right? So what's the dialect? Like Malvi language, right? Rajasthani, Bundelkhandi. So these are the dialects actually of one language, used within some defined special region and during the same period of time. So that is comparative study of language. You can understand comparative study of dialects is called. That's the which approach or which synchronic study of language, right? Now next author says that that is determining the regions of the United States in which people currently say pop. That's an example. Currently say pop rather than soda. So now they have replaced the word soda, which was used once upon a time. Now they use pop. So this is the study. That's a synchronic study, right? That's a synchronic study. Okay. Now, and idea rather than idea. So once upon a time that was idea. Now they use idea, right? So that's another. Are examples of types of inquiries pertinent to a synchronic study. Right? Synchronistic views look at a language as it's static, not changing. So synchronic means a one particular time. So they just view that language as if it is static, means this a fixed language that is not changing. However, language is being changed, is still changing. But then for synchronic study, we suppose that language is freeze or fixed, right? Language continually evolve. We know that language is not static, that is continually evolve, right? Now, though it is slow enough that people don't notice it much while it's happening right now, still language is being changed, but the process is very slow. That's why it is not noticeable. The term was coined by Swiss linguist Ferdinand de Saussure, that is synchronic, and that for which he is now most known was just a portion of his contribution to academia. His specialty was the analysis of Indo-European languages, and his work generally studied languages over time, or diachronic historical linguistics. What Ferdinand de Saussure says he is now most known was just a portion of contributions to academia. His specialty was the analysis of Indo. Okay, so finally, who has propounded this theory? That is Ferdinand de Saussure. Now, what's the difference between synchronic and diachronic? Synchronic linguistics is one of the two main temporal dimensions of language studies introduced by Saussure in his course in general linguistics. The other, diachronic linguistics, which is the study of language through periods of time in history. The first book at a snapshot of a language, and other studies its evolution like a frame of a film versus movie. Right? For example, analyzing the word order in a sentence in Old English only would be the study of synchronistic linguistics. Important, what is analyzing the word order in a sentence in Old English, right? So suppose you have taken a sentence from Old English and then you are analyzing word order in that Old English. That is called synchronic or synchronistic linguistics. Now, if you looked at how word order changed in a sentence from old to middle, right? So from old to middle English and now to modern English, that would be the diachronic study. Say you need to analyze how historical events affected a language. If you look at when the Normans conquered England in 1066 and brought with them a lot of new words to be injected into English. So that is historical event. Suppose we study this when Norman conquered and England, and they brought some words and then they injected into English. A diachronic look could analyze what new words were adopted, which ones fell out of use, and how long that process took for select words. So that what was the beginning, how that words were used, that is the study. And then a synchronic study might look at the language at different points before the Normans or after. Now note how you need a longer time period for the diachronic study than the synchronic one. Now, example is when people had more opportunities to change their social class in 1600, they started using words thee, thou. That's a very good example and very recent example. When people had more opportunities to change their social class in 60s, so that's in other words, you just remember that in 60s, thee, thou, right? These words often used, and if they did not know the social class of person they were addressing, they would use the formal pronoun you to be safely polite. So instead of thee, you just thou, you use you, leading to the demise of thee and thou in English. So then you replace thee and thou kind of words. This would be a diachronic look, a description of words and how they were used at the time in comparison to pronoun you would be a synchronic description. Before Saussure, it was considered that the only true scientific study of a language could be diachronic. So that's what is the scientific study of a language, right? That is called diachronic, but uh, both approaches are useful. In third edition, Synchronic English Linguistics, an introduction, the authors explained the types of historical linguistics, that is, as it is necessary to know how a system works at any given time before one can hope to understand changes. The analysis of language at a single point of time, such as synchronic linguistics, now usually precedes the study in terms of diachronic linguistics. Actually, synchronic linguistics is the part of diachronic studies. Linguistics, right? Synchronic studies look at what associates with what, how parts interact at any given time. Diachronic studies look at what causes what and how things change over time. Important, very important. What synchronic studies look at what associates with what associates with what, how parts interact, right, at any given time, whereas diachronic studies look at what causes what that is what associates what and what causes what. I'm writing here what associates what, that is what associates what, that is synchronic, right? That is synchronic. Now what causes what, that is what causes what is diachronic. Okay. Now, so what is the what causes what means any change, the reason is what behind this change, and what is associated with what means subject, verb will be preceded by subject and followed by object. That's a study that approaches synchronic studies, right? Another example, synchronic linguistics is descriptive linguistics, such as the study of how parts of language, morphs or morphemes combine to form words. Important, what that synchronic linguistics is a descriptive linguistics, and they talk about how parts of language, morphs or morphemes combine to form words or phrases, right? And words and phrases, and how proper syntax gives a sentence meaning, right? How proper syntax gives a sentence meaning, right? So what is this? That's a synchronic linguistics is descriptive linguistics, such as study of how parts of language, morphs or morphemes, combine to form words or phrases, and how proper syntax gives a sentence meaning. Again, I'm repeating, synchronic, this is descriptive linguistic, which describe what the as the study of how parts of language or grammar or something. That's a morph or morpheme. Morph or morpheme means words combined to form words or phrases. Like suppose we can say that uh, either, right? So that's a either. So that is EITHER. That's a study how these morphs are joined together or make words. But suppose another example is on the other hand, right? So what is on the other hand? That's a phrase. So that phrase is the combination of on the other hand, this way, right? So that is phrase. And how proper syntax gives a sentence meaning means, proper syntax means here subject, then verb, then object. If you change order, have I one car, something like this, so that does not follow orders, and that's why there is no clear meaning, right? In 28th century, the search for universal grammar, that which is instinctive in humans and gives them the ability to pick up their native language as an infant, is synchronic area of study. What? That in 28th century, the search for universal grammar, because the different countries, states, places, they follow different grammar. Now there was need of universal grammar, that which is instinctive in humans and gives them the ability to pick up. So that is the purpose, right? So now that's a they pick up their native language as an infant. This study is called, when we study about grammar portion and all, universal grammar. So that's a study, that's a synchronic area of study. Okay, so that is something. Then studies of dead languages can be synchronic, as by definition they are no larger spoken, no native or fluent speakers, nor evolving, and are frozen in time. So that is dead languages, that's a synchronic study, because that particular time we do study, that is synchronic study. So that is a little information about synchronic